we'll have a rep from, oh, okay.
Gavel.
Yep. Today's meeting of the Public Art and Design Board is called to order on March 10th, 2022. Welcome, everyone. The members of the Public Art and Design Board were appointed by the City Council. We serve voluntarily. The board has been directed to administer the City of Clearwater's Public Art and Design program on behalf of the citizens of Clearwater. Agenda of today's meeting are on the wall of at the entrance to the chambers. Please remember to turn off your cell phones and electronic devices. To ensure a complete record of the board's actions, we ask each individual wishing to speak to clearly state their name and spell their last name for the clerk. Will the members of the board and staff please introduce themselves?
Embarrass us.
Me first. I'm Jonathan Barnes.
Eric Seiler.
Brian Roberts.
Teresa Brown Boson.
Gregory Berg.
Jerry Manal.
Christopher Hubbard, Cultural Affairs Coordinator.
And we appreciate you. Our first order of business is to review and approve the minutes of the board's last meeting. Board members, are there any changes to or corrections? Nope. All right.
Motion to approve?
All right.
A motion.
I second.
Second? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes are approved. Is there anyone here to speak of items not on the agenda?
I'd just like to ask, just because I'm a little bit hard of hearing, that people speak up, so I don't want to miss anything.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. Say new business.
So we have a point of order for, with the departure of Neil Strelo. He has termed off the board. I'd like to, as a staff representative, thank him for his service, acknowledge the many years that he committed to the public and serving on the Public Art and Design Board. With his terming out, we do need to appoint a new chair. So a matter of business is that we would take a nomination for chair, and then the board will choose to vote on that item.
I'm going to nominate Jerry again. Jerry, you're a good leader, that's why I say that.
Yes, Jerry does term out. We don't have any applications on file currently. And so Jerry's term ends on April the 30th of this year. She can be appointed. She is a appointed position as a representative of the business community. So any applicants would need to meet that criteria to fill that slot.
So she will not be here at the next meeting.
Perhaps, yeah.
When is the next meeting?
Next meeting is going to be, this is June the 11th, I believe. I think it's June 11th.
So I believe that in the best interest of this committee, that we should accept my nomination for Eric Seiler. As we know that he will be here for at least the next 12 months.
Eric does not have any term limits coming up.
I'll second that.
Okay?
I'm humbled. I accept.
And then so we'll have to do a,
Are there any other nominations? Or could you make a motion to appoint?
So
See what she's saying.
Okay, make a motion to appoint Eric as
Okay.
chair.
I make a motion to appoint him.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
congratulations, Mr. Chair. You will take your gavel at the next meeting.
I guess, do we have any other new business?
Yes,
I think I'm going to say the next meeting, I think, is June 9th.
June 9th.
That's the Thursday.
That'll be the Thursday?
Yeah.
Thank you. So June 9th will be your next public art.
Third? That's not the third Thursday, the second.
Second Thursday.
Second Thursday is June 9th.
item 4.1, we will, on the agendas.
Okay, review and update the World Within installation.
Okay. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Christopher Hubbard, Cultural Affairs Coordinator. The World Within is an immersive sound art installation by artist Todd McIntyre, and it's funded by the CRA. This ephemeral art installation will capture soundscapes from the Florida Everglades that spans the course of a day, from the dawn chorus and daytime activity to a sunset chorus and night activity. The installation will consist of strategically placed speakers that will project sound to create a miniature audible ecosystem that will evolve over the course of the day. The installation will take place from May 15th to June 15th, 2022, with the potential for extension and travel to different locations within the city. The artist Todd McIntyre will travel to Clearwater to provide a sneak preview of the installation on March 30th at a Clyde Butcher lecture and book signing that is scheduled for the Capitol Theater. So that is March 30th. The installation builds on the momentum that was started by the exhibition of Clyde's Everglades series that's here at the main library, and the 75th anniversary of the Everglades National Park. This represents a significant step for us with the commission of our first ephemeral art. The Cultural Arts Strategic Plan outlines our plans to support neighborhoods through broadening and diversifying our arts experiences under Strategy 7, Neighborhood and Resident Investment. This includes an expansion into the literary and performing arts, such as music, dance, and theater, as well as a supplement to our ongoing visual art program to build and bring additional arts opportunities to our community. And so this, like I said, is a big step for us. It's our first non-physical installation, and we will see, hopefully, the commission of additional pieces that can travel through the city at various recreation centers and city buildings that the public can experience.
That's awesome.
Very exciting.
And it's a sound system that goes around with it, or?
Yes, there's a local sound design company will be contracted to do the installation. There'll be essentially hidden or disguised speakers that won't attract attention but allow you to be in the environment. So they're going to scope out locations when they visit on the 30th of March. And they'll have a preview of the sound because they'll have conducted their recordings. They're getting their permits to go into the Everglades right now and spend a few days staying there, recording sounds from all throughout the day, and they'll provide a snippet of that at the lecture on the 30th.
That's pretty cool. So they're collecting the actual sounds.
Yes,
now?
yeah, they're on-site recordings.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
we don't have a location for this. It could,
We have a couple in mind. There's one that because it's funded by the CRA, this first iteration has to be in the CRA's district.
gotcha.
And so there's one that we're looking at. It's Gaslight Alley in the 500 block of Cleveland Street. It's very landscaped and kind of conducive to creating a micro environment. But there are a couple other locations, and we'll go by the recommendations of the sound artists because they'll be able to understand the acoustics the best. But no matter which installation it'll go into, it'll certainly change how we perceive the space. Kind of adding a new element versus the usual downtown noises that we have.
That's me.
Because I'm kind of picturing myself hearing like alligators howling in the middle of the
downtown.
piece, and you're like, oh no, that's not what I wanted. As you're walking by the bush going, oh my gosh, I gotta jump away.
Some surprised reactions, but yeah, definitely, and especially as the dawn chorus and then the evening, it'll go throughout the day, and so those will be very active points of time.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Is there any planned outreach to local schools?
Yes, we're going to work with the CRA and Pinellas County Schools to let students know of the opportunity. We can also expand that out to the St. Petersburg College and our other institutions that we have in the city, both reminding them of the exhibit, promoting the lecture, and then introducing the soundscape as well.
Does anybody know if Florida state standards for, at any level, have like an ecological requirement?
I'm not sure I understand the question. Are you thinking like what an ecological impact?
Well, is there any, at any point in primary and secondary education, do students have to have is there a unit they have to have that talks about ecosystems?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Something like that?
Yeah.
That I don't know. I'm not
It'd be
that
great if there was a
familiar
way
with
of
that.
contacting teachers like now, ahead of time,
Mhm.
and then they could plan that into their curriculum.
How long will it be with us?
The contract that they have with the CRA is for 1 month, but the artists are open to extending it for, multiple months. The only ongoing cost would be just renting the equipment from the local company. But we can have it travel elsewhere in the city. It can be available to a variety of people in different settings. So we literally just signed the agreement yesterday. So it's very new, and they're very open to working with the city on finding some neat applications for it. I can check with the school board to see if it aligns with any of the curriculum, presenting them with that opportunity, and definitely, encouraging as many people to experience it as possible.
I'm assuming there'll be signage and stuff so that when
Yes.
somebody hears a gator chomp, chomp, chomping, then they can read and say, oh,
On the
this
trail, that
is
big.
just in a dream.
What was that you just said?
And I'll be alarmed.
And the sound system is secured somehow overnight while
Yes, yeah, it'll
doesn't wander
be
off.
rigged for security, essentially, either boxes that are temporarily secured to the pavement or structure, and they'll also be disguised, at least as much as possible, to prevent interference.
Awesome.
Is there any interaction? So let's say children are present. I mean, can they press a button and hear the sound of a bird or an alligator or whatever?
No,
So it's not an interactive kind of thing?
No, it's more immersive. I kind of liken it to when you're in line at Disney and you can hear the soundscape behind you.
Sure.
But the interactivity is a little more technologically complicated than
Sure.
we can do in a quick time.
Are there any other local areas that have anything like this?
Not that I'm aware of.
Pretty cool.
Museums, interior, some immersive spaces, but this is the only sound installation of this kind that I can think of.
I would assume there'll be some signage or something.
Yes,
Somewhere.
we'll have information describing the project, describing the habitat as well.
Are there any comments from the audience? Yep, we're gonna, review old business items. 5.1, review an update on Clearwater Arts Alliance Thinking Outside the Box Signal Box Wrap Program.
All right, thank you. And so the Arts Alliance is gearing up for another round of their successful Thinking Outside the Box program. I'll be providing them with a list of neighborhoods that we've identified within the city for targeted interventions and the inclusion of public art in areas where they're not being reached right now. The idea behind that, such as signal boxes, storm drain murals, and human-scale public art, will serve as inroads to provide greater arts access to the citizens in those neighborhoods and communities. The Alliance, again, will work with local artists to produce new signal box wraps that are unique to each neighborhood. And I have with me, if you'll bear with me a moment, I'm going to bring up a map. It should be in just a moment on your monitors.
On this one,
Oh, okay, there's me. There we go. Okay, so
they have
Yeah, we
it.
can see.
on the front monitor here, those purple circles are areas that we have existing public art projects through the capital commission system. The red dots are future capital projects. that are yet to be installed. And then the blue boxes are areas that we've identified as target zones for that first round of neighborhood-focused installations. And so those neighborhoods are in order of number as they appear on your screen. Bayview Heights is number 1. Number 2 is Imperial Park. Number 3 is North Saturn. Number 4, Oak Acres. Number 5, Valencia Park and Beckett Lake. Number 6, Wood Valley and Mission Hills. And number 7, Woodgate Village on the Green. So these are all within the city's limits. And the area that is to the west is sort of how Dunedin dips down into the city. So we've got sort of an open spot, although it looks that way on the map. This represents a pretty good wide coverage of the city with follow-up efforts. This is only the beginning of our expansion of public art to our community in a non-imperialistic sort of way.
This is very exciting. We've been trying and wanting to get away from the beach and away from downtown with public art for a while. Nothing wrong with downtown and the beach, but it's very exciting to see it going into outside neighborhoods.
What's the city's view, and I'm wondering about the other artists on the board too, of relationship of art or the use of art in kind of practical ways? I'm thinking about individual neighborhoods. How do people see their how art fits into their areas? Because I'm thinking about the concept of maybe the city's coming in and doing this, as opposed to this is growing out of what our community likes to see. And I'm thinking about what St. Pete does with murals and different things like that. And Jonathan, I don't know if you had any.
There is a process where members of the community meet with, why don't you explain it?
Okay, sure. And so, the answer is there's a mechanism for it. And so the city is looking to broaden our partnerships with nonprofits and organizations in the communities that they serve. And so with our granting program, that establishes a process for partnering nonprofits and arts organizations together to create new community-based art installations that are really driven by input from the community rather than the city coming in and saying, this is the project we're doing for you. So it's very much in that fashion focused to that. The Signal Box is a program that we are sponsoring and supporting through that public art fund, and the Clearwater Arts Alliance is actually organizing that. So they're a separate agency from the city. In another case, the Clearwater Historical Society has recently finished a mural on South Ward Elementary, which is on South Fort Harrison, and that was a project that they brought before the board for funding as well. And so if there are neighborhood organizations or organizations in the community that would like to partner with residents, our platform is open. I can assist with putting together an application for either this board's review or for inclusion into the greater strategic plan initiative for more neighborhood scale investments. But again, these are not so much dictated by the city as the traditional capital improvement program process that we do. These are more organically created from community input. So they'd be more responsive. They needn't always be one size fits all as far as the medium. They can be practical as far as infrastructure that's included into the community, whether they're redoing a pathway in that area, that benches or water fountains might be served well as artistically designed. It could take the form of additional programming in the neighborhood through the recreation centers, of working with local artists to produce entertaining programs or teaching new students of various age levels how to do an artwork or an art form. So there are a lot of available inroads, essentially. And because it is neighborhood specific, really as the cultural affairs coordinator, I'm taking their lead and providing support within the mechanism to assist them in funding.
So in the process of something like the signal boxes, members of the Clearwater Arts Alliance meet with community members of a neighborhood. The members of the community, the neighborhood, come up with themes that they're looking for that they think would speak to the neighborhood. They choose some artists, and then the Clearwater Arts Alliance helps to facilitate the artists create concepts, the community votes on the concepts, and then with the money that the Clearwater Arts Alliance has and the money that this board has helped them with, those pieces are produced. So it's completely neighborhood, community driven.
I remember the presentation on the signal boxes, and
Yeah.
that was very good.
Yeah, we're just facilitators.
And partly what I'm just thinking about is some of the lower income neighborhoods near my neighborhood, and I'm wondering how much input people there have time to give, or, I don't know if there's any data about lower income neighborhoods and how much input they're giving
It
and
was
things.
about a year or so ago, we did a project in the South Woodlawn neighborhood that Miranda put together, where we painted a traffic calming circle intersection thing. And I believe that was entirely her proposal.
Yes.
And we helped fund an artist to come out, and conceptualize it, and then come lay it out, and then community members and volunteers went out and painted it on a Saturday. I think the paint all came from the city, from the storm drain mural project, and it was a lot of fun. I went out, painted for 4 or 5 hours, and got really sunburned, but it was great. It was a lovely group of people, and it looks good.
Yeah, it's held up very well.
So that's like totally community driven, by somebody that lives in the neighborhood.
And in neighborhoods where they may not have an existing neighborhood board or association, an existing nonprofit or organization can serve as their representative and can partner with the Public Art or the Cultural Affairs Division to apply for that funding so that they can be the mechanism by which the community then can show up and participate or experience the art, but doesn't necessarily have to do the administrative lifting.
On your list after Oak Arches, what was the other neighborhood that you mentioned before? Howard Valley.
Number 4 is Oak Acres. Number 5 is Valencia Park and Beckett Lake. That is kind of smack in the middle of the city, just a little bit west of Belcher and north of Sunset Point.
Okay, let's see, 5.2, review the current public art fund balance.
Okay. The current balance is $133,315. That includes allocations for grants to the Clearwater Arts Alliance, Thinking Outside the Box Signal Box Wrap Program, and the Clearwater Historical Society mural at the Society's Museum and Cultural Center, located at South Ward School, 610 South Fort Harrison. Both organizations have invoiced us, and those invoices are in process. So they will be receiving their funds very shortly.
Excellent. 5.3, review an update on the mural at Cherry Harris Park.
With the passage of the Cultural Arts Strategic Plan, funding is now available in the Cultural Affairs Project Programming budget to support those community-focused projects such as the Cherry Harris Park mural. As you may remember, we did apply for a Bloomberg Philanthropies Art Asphalt Initiative grant. That's a mouthful. But we were not approved for funding for that. Nevertheless, we want to make sure that this is a project that's realized. And so staff is recommending a partnership with the Neighborhood Services Program to do a split of the costs in creating this mural, which is estimated at about $12,000. And so about $6,000 will come from Cultural Affairs programming budget, and the remainder coming from the Neighborhood Services budget, with sponsorship and donations also being targeted from our Sherwin Williams franchise in the neighborhood. They make Pro Park, which is a street lining paint. It's very durable and can be used for mural installations on the road top. And the only difficulty is that the colors have to be mixed by hand. So that's the challenge within those. But if the materials are available to us, it'll be a great support.
I'm not familiar with Cherry Harris Park. Could you kind of give me an idea
Yeah,
on the
sure.
map of where it is?
It's in the North Greenwood neighborhood.
Okay.
If you take Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue north,
Yep.
just before you get to Marshall Street, Cherry Harris Park is on the east side. It's right near the Robinson Challenge School, which is the, I believe, I don't want to get the name wrong, I think it is the North Pinellas African American History Museum. They're operating out of that historic school. And so it is very popular in the community, used as birthday parties and outdoor festivities, people gathering on the weekends. But if you didn't know it was there, you could very easily drive past it. And so this street mural, and which will kind of bubble up over into the entrance to the park, will really highlight that the park's there. Hopefully provide for some traffic calming as well, but really brighten up that little patch of neighborhood.
What is the time frame for this project?
That is to be determined. We're going to work into our project plan load as we can, but we would like to have it done before the end of this fiscal year, which will be, our fiscal year ends September 30. So before the end of the summer, really.
Fast.
Fun. Well, hopefully it jives with my schedule and I can mix paint again.
All right.
'Cause
Perfect.
that was a lot of fun with the other one because it is challenging. It was easy to make brown and purple.
Yes.
Like an ugly purple too.
Shouldn't have go.
All right. 5.4, review of the Crest Lake Public Art Project.
Okay, so this project's awaiting input from the Parks and Recreation Department on contractors to construct the pads and pedestals to mount the artwork that artist Donald Janella has created. The sculptures are complete: frog, spider, fish, moorhen, and dragonfly. And they're being stored at his studio/production space. Cultural Affairs staff has elevated the request to push the project along, and anticipated installation was in January, so we're just kind of nudging things along, but things do occasionally take a little bit longer than we had anticipated. Not for lack of effort on their part, but just for wrangling contractors. So we've given them a nudge. They're obliging and working with us. We'll, if necessary, work with an outside contractor to install the pads if we need to, if the internal city trades workers either cannot put it into their schedule or something more advanced than they're able to handle easily. So I'm just taking their lead on that. As such, the Cultural Affairs staff, me, seeks $600 for an additional period of storage for the completed sculptures in Don's space. He does share that space with a existing business. It's sort of a shared construction/garage space. And then it's the intent of the program to wrap things up as quickly as possible so that the public can enjoy the sculptures and begin to interact with them.
So the hangup is actually from the internal city of Clearwater's.
We're just kind of,
I say Parks and Rec, but it's probably what they're, not maintenance, but one of them that they just don't have the time to get it in their schedule.
it's not so much that they're resisting doing it, they're just trying to work it in.
Sure.
They had a meeting with contractors actually yesterday to try and get some bids for the project. So they're pushing it along as best they can.
Which is understandable. I just think if we do this again, then we're gonna end up spending more money leasing the space to hold them instead of just paying somebody to go put those concrete pads in.
Sure.
So,
All right.
is there anything we can do to help to push that along, have a conversation with somebody, and say, hey, let's get those things up? Because I personally want to see those things in place. Those are some pretty exciting art pieces that are going to go in that nice
They look
park.
fabulous, yeah. And,
It would be great to get them up before the heat.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Right.
People don't go outside, because that would be a shame to put them up in the heat of the summer, and
I'm going to guess it's probably almost already too late for that by the time we get this concrete passing done.
we could,
There's a
once,
splash
Yeah,
pad.
you're right, though. It would have been.
Neil's not here anymore, we don't have to follow those rules. Oh, we're being recorded?
Thanks for that,
There's
Jerry.
a splash pad, so bring your swim trunks and a towel, and you can cool off.
But yeah, that would be nice, and Jerry's right, it would be nice. It would have been nice if they had it now, but I get the timing, but it's just if there's anything we can do to push it along, I mean.
Thank you.
It's just, we'll do it.
yeah, I appreciate that. And I'll just, like I said, continue working with them. They have been very good partners. They're just trying to fit it into a lot of the work that they're doing in the community.
And we appreciate that too as well, because there's, it's tough to get all those little pieces and parts handled. I'm sure they have a lot on their list, on their kitty, so.
So do we need a motion for $600?
Oh, yes, sorry.
I'll motion for the 600.
All right, I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
At Christopher's discretion.
At Christopher's discretion, yeah.
And if we get the work in there sooner, we can just work with Dawn on prorating of just paying for the days that are necessary.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes, he's a good steward of our money.
Mix paint, you want to mix some concrete? I'll get some bags, we'll just go.
Man, I don't need to be in the sun more this week. I'm kind of cooked.
Or both, Paul, we can.
Oh, yeah.
And I do want to just reiterate that the Parks team is working with me very well.
Good.
They're just trying to fit it in.
I understand, and again,
Yeah.
super appreciate all that, and I understand how the constraints are, but sometimes it is tough to get those things into their schedules. I can 100% appreciate that.
All right, so 5.5, review and update the Clearwater Police Department Substation 3 project.
Okay. This one's just brief. The project's proceeding along well. I'm working and interfacing with engineering and the police department to solidify our public art approach to the 2 locations that we've identified before we convene the selection committee, just to make sure we have everything locked in and in place before we move forward.
Okay. 5.6, review and update the Clearwater Fire Department Station 46 project.
The project's placed on a very short hold while we rebalance internal workloads of catching up with everything. However, that was done with regards to engineering staff is taking a look at some of the building design. Council had a request to take a look at amending the facility a little bit, so we're working with them on the opportunity to examine the public art inclusion areas that we had identified. Those are the glass panel beneath the building's overhang, pad to the west of the pedestrian sidewalk, and other opportunities on the south and east facades. So I'll keep you updated on that process. They are still kind of working towards getting the project up and moving. Council did unanimously approve the funding for this project, and so it's very much something that is going to happen. They do need to create a temporary facility for the fire department to operate out of, so there'll be catty corner to the existing facility. But no matter the artwork that's selected, we'll make sure that it integrates well with the facility, because we're able to commission these early on in the process rather than having artwork that's kind of added on after the fact.
Okay. Do any members have any items to discuss under old business?
Nope.
Okay,
I apologize for having missed last meeting. Is there any update on Imagine Clearwater as it relates to this committee?
Not at the moment, no.
Anybody else? Mr. Hubbard, do you have a director's report?
Yes, personally, I'd like to extend my welcome to Ms. Brombosen, who's our new community representative on the board. I have 3 updates for you. One is the website overhaul that I was talking about. This is part of the initiative for the updated strategic plan. We're overhauling the website. I am working with the IT department to overhaul the cultural affairs website to boost navigability and public use. We'll add new features such as a section reserved for murals, including the CRA's downtown program, as well as the Artists Seeking Walls and Walls Seeking Artists Forum. That'll aid our public partnership with the community. We'll have a cultural directory with listings for Clearwater artists, galleries, studios, schools, and performance spaces. And we'll have an artist opportunity section that will host city, local, and regional calls to artists and artist project and funding opportunities. So I drafted up kind of
Yes.
just, yes,
Pardon me for interrupting. For some reason on a request, I was looking for a comprehensive list of the inventory of all the public art in the city, and I couldn't find that online. I thought that I know I created something during the centennial, and I thought I had forwarded that to the Arts Alliance as well as the city. Does that currently exist, or that would be incorporated in this
this
new
is
one?
part of it. I'm working with the GIS department to do essentially a layer to their GIS map. That's our cultural asset inventory. So that includes commissioned public artwork, all the murals and storm drain murals, signal box locations, as well as areas where the public can interact with art at performing arts centers, and then venues that host art. So it's a process that's ongoing, but it'll be very inclusive. It's something that essentially a citizen will be able to open the map on the website, and then it'll pop up with a little box that says, you're looking at this, and here's the address, and this is what it is.
Is that connected at all with tourism and,
It will be.
Yeah, we'll cross-post it to the Downtown Cultural Arts Tour, and that's shared again with the Arts Alliance, who have their downtown walking tour I believe it's the third Saturday of each month. There's a 10:30 and there's a 4 o'clock. And so we'll essentially share within those groups to broaden the impact of that. I do have a rendering I brought up. Here is kind of currently what the website looks like.
We can see it.
Okay, good. Just kind of informative, but not visually appealing. Here is the draft that I created of an update to the website. More clickable buttons that'll take you to direct pages. Right now the website is under the city manager's office and then under cultural affairs. So it's a couple clicks deep when you're at My Clearwater. Part of the new overhaul will be a URL that directs you directly to cultural affairs. And so we can very easily give that out at a community meeting. As you'll see, there's a link to the strategic plan, to our public art database, collection of murals with the forum there, our Sister Cities Exchange program, artist opportunities, and then that cultural directory. So it'll all be very easy, clickable, and then sub-navigated on the left side with a text-based menu.
will there be a search function?
It'll search within the existing website. So if you go to myclearwater.com, there's a search bar that is a comprehensive look of all the city's websites. There won't be a specific search built into cultural affairs, but if you type it in and it's present on a city webpage, it'll bring up that information.
Will the dolphins be included in the public art information? Because I can't find any information on that for the art walk.
That'll be, let me ask the Amplify Clearwater.
And the turtles.
And the turtles. We do have a couple existing turtles, yeah. So I'll talk with them. They used to have a map or database of all the dolphins. It's been a number of years, and so they inherited that from the regional chamber. I'll check with them and see if they've kept it up to date.
Awesome, thank you.
Very exciting.
All right. Board members to be heard.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Two more things.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. pause for.
It was a long pause.
Update on the Historical Society mural. The mural is complete and it's very visible from South Fort Harrison. Artist Tim Boatwright did a great job laying out the composition, and the Vitale brothers from St. Pete executed the painting just as it was depicted. And so very quickly as well. So a job well done by the Historical Society, Mr. Boatwright and the Vitales. Here's what kind of looked like at the start. Sort of the layout with some of those iconic images coming into place. And then here is a completed image.
Oh, wow.
Nice and bright, vibrant colors, very easy to see. And so I think they've done a really nice job out at the site.
That looks awesome.
No,
Hope we can keep those vibrant colors. It doesn't get faded.
The Vitales do a lot of murals in the area. In fact, that's kind of one of their major activities. So they know their materials really well. So they've provided a coating for it as well.
Awesome.
Well, looks good.
Okay, and my last update for you, I'll bring up our map here. This is located just a little to the east of us on Pennsylvania Avenue. So if you're on Drew Street, one of the first streets you encounter is Pennsylvania. It's the Plaza Park neighborhood, and they have developed a neighborhood association there. It's one of our newest ones, and they have a application with the Neighborhood Services Division to fund a street mural in their neighborhood. So they've identified an artist that lives in the community that they'd like to work with, and I am helping them with the necessary paperwork and contracting to advance that project for them. And so we'll have another neighborhood street mural, another opportunity for the community to come together and volunteer on a project. And so they're working pretty quickly on that one. And just more and more opportunities to see more art in our neighborhoods.
That's so exciting.
That's exciting. Yeah. Okay. Board members to be heard. This concludes the scheduled business for today's meeting. Do any board members?
I have a question. Sorry,
Oh, no, you're fine.
finished doing that. The Valencia Park and Beckett Lake signal box, there's already one at Sunset, or at Hercules, right there at
Yes.
that road. Where would the other signal box be?
It wouldn't be necessarily a signal box.
Oh, okay.
This would be more of either Frank Tack Park or across the street, there's a neighborhood park. This would be an installation or amenity in one of those parks.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. I thought that was identified for the CAA outside.
That's just more the neighborhood level intervention.
Okay.
Okay. We're good. Do any board members have any additional comments? I'll start to my right. Member Manal.
Good, thank you.
Byrd,
No, I'm good.
Brom, Morrison, Roberts, Seiler.
Oh, sir.
He wants a copy of your script.
Huh?
He wants a copy of your script.
Yeah, I'll mix
Get you
up the
one.
names.
Okay, good, because I was like,
Well, yeah. This is still difficult.
did a marvelous job.
Done very well.
All right. It says Miss Hubbard. Yes.
Oh,
Hey,
hey,
whatever. Mr. Hubbard, do you have any additional comments for the board?
No, not this afternoon. Thank
All
you.
right. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.